Welcome everybody. This is Drew Kaplan, real estate agent with Keller Williams Advisors Realty, and welcome to another weekly real estate video with me. I'm excited to have first-time guest on, Rob Knarr. Knarr or Knarr?
Actually, it's Knarr. You actually do pronounce the K on it. It's K-N-R. Yeah. When you started to introduce me, I was like, uh-oh, he's going to mispronounce my name. But, it's Knarr.
Knarr. And Rob here is with Clazen Consulting, and he does structural engineering. So in a word, basically, Rob, what does that entail for the structural engineering stuff?
So really for me, I'm a residential structural engineer, which I know there's most structural engineers are big, they design big buildings and bridges and all that kind of stuff. And then there's other people like me that are more, small residential stuff. I get involved in a lot of buying and selling transactions with buyers and sellers when they get a home inspection. Home inspectors are great. I know a ton of them and I love them to death. But they're generalists, obviously, and they will flag 2 or 3, maybe half a dozen things that they don't want to comment on because they don't want the liability from a structural perspective. So I'll get called in a lot to look at like 2 or 3 things and then to write a letter or to provide a design detail of some sort. Usually, like I said, it's between a buyer and a seller in a transaction when they're buying or selling a house. Also a lot of times with bank appraisers, when they come in, they'll see structural issues. A lot of times it's, termite damage or something like that, or a foundation crack or something, but the bank wants to make sure that they have a, solid investment because they're underwriting the loan. So I'll get called in for that as well. Another time I get involved is with buyers. They'll call me, or sellers, or, sellers even when they're getting ready to sell a house, they might know they have an issue or they might not know they have an issue, and they just want to know for sure what to expect when a home inspector does come in. So they might say, hey, we bought this house, we had this crack or whatever, and we just want to know if we should be concerned. And really, they also kind of want to know, like, how much would it cost to get fixed, so they can kind of adjust their selling price accordingly. But then also on the flip side, a lot of times a buyer will have me come in. They've seen the item in the home inspection report. They love the house. They don't really want to raise the issue, but they just kind of want a little peace of mind that it's okay or not. And if it's not, then I tell them, hey, you might want to go back to the seller and get some money for this or whatever. So like I said, there's a lot of different things, but it's a lot of the same goals, buyers and sellers trying to get a deal done. And for agents too, I get called a lot at the last minute on deals and say, hey, I need this. Our inspection window is going to be done at 9 p.m. I need help. And so just like I said,
how quickly can you get them turned around?
So, I can generally, I try to keep a loose schedule for last minute stuff for real estate transactions. I'm not a real estate flipper, but I bought, a few houses in my day, and I know that things, when they need to be done, they need to be done in a hurry. And so I try to put out, if you give me a call in the morning, I generally can get out there in the afternoon or early evening that day just to at least give you like okay, here's where you are. And then in terms of a report, usually it's, 2 or 3 days to get it back to you. But if it's something that really, really needs to be, the next day, I'll do my best to get it done. But it's not like I'm weeks or 2, it's not like that. Like I said, I try to do my best to honor and appreciate the deadlines associated with me coming in at the last minute. So
that's really awesome. One final question, which is how much do they usually run for an inspection?
So when I was talking about before, I was talking about coming out to kind of give a peace of mind to a buyer or to give a seller a heads up on what to expect. I kind of do my fees 2 different ways. I do like a site visit, a verbal assessment, just go through anything that people have concern with or questions about. And I kind of just go through everything and give them my best opinion verbally. That's usually about $295 or so, somewhere in that range. If it's within 30 miles of Cincinnati, if I got to drive up to Dayton or something, obviously it's going to be more than that. But then a report can be, it's usually in the 275 range. So that would be a separate fee. So like if I, normally if I do a visit and a report, that's usually about $575 or so. And that's just really a conceptual description of everything we discussed. Now, if I get in a situation where I come in there and, something needs to be redesigned, or I need to do some calculations or a drawing and put my stamp on it, usually I have to give a proposal for that. So you'd pay for the phase 1 fee, which would be like the site visit. And then I would have to give a proposal for something. If it's like, for example, if a deck needs to be redesigned or something, then I would have to give a proposal for that. So, yeah.
All right. Well, Rob, I found this really helpful. I hope folks out there did as well. So thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, no problem. Thank you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.